In the world of WWE, where every superstar has a chance to shine, not everyone manages to hold on to the spotlight forever. Some names were once the center of attention, but due to scandals, offering behavior, or backstage conflicts, they ended up being permanently blacklisted by WWE. Some left in disgrace, while others sabotaged their own careers. In today's video, Wrestling Sphere takes you through the stories of wrestlers who were once highly regarded by WWE, but are now completely banned with no chance of return. Brock Lesnar, from dominant icon to a name erased by WWE. If there's one superstar WWE is unlikely to ever welcome back, it's Brock Lesnar. The Beast incarnate once symbolized brute force and total domination in professional wrestling. Debuting in 2002, Lesnar made headlines when he became WWE Champion just 5 months into his career, a feat that stunned the entire wrestling world. Brock didn't just possess a freakish physique. His in-ring style was explosive, aggressive, and unforgiving. His battles with legends like Kurt Angle and The Undertaker quickly launched him to the top tier of WWE's elite. However, in a shocking twist, just 2 years later, Lesnar left the company in 2004 to pursue a career in the NFL, a bold move that stirred major controversy. His departure wasn't smooth, leading to a prolonged legal battle with WWE that lasted for years. Many thought that was the end. But in 2012, Lesnar shocked the wrestling world again when he returned to WWE after a successful stint in the UFC. This time, however, things were different. He was no longer a weekly presence. Instead, he was positioned as a special attraction, only appearing in marquee matches and major events. This shift turned every Lesnar appearance into a must-see blockbuster. During this second run, Lesnar became a wrecking machine, decimating every opponent in his path. He held the WWE and Universal titles multiple times, defeating top stars like John Cena, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Braun Strowman. His presence was so valuable that WWE paid him millions just to wrestle a handful of matches each year. But with great fame comes the risk of a hard fall. In January 2024, a bombshell lawsuit turned Lesnar's career upside down. Former WWE employee Janelle Grant filed a sexual misconduct suit against Vince McMahon, alleging years of abuse. In the legal documents, Grant referenced a former UFC champion, now a WWE superstar, who allegedly received explicit photos of her from McMahon as part of a covert arrangement to facilitate Lesnar's 2021 WWE return. Although no name was initially mentioned, fans and media were quick to speculate that the unnamed figure was Brock Lesnar. These suspicions intensified when WWE responded swiftly and severely. They quietly removed Lesnar from all promotional materials and canceled his planned return at Royal Rumble 2024. Every product bearing his image was put on clearance, and his character was pulled from the WWE 2K24 video game roster, clear signs the company wanted nothing more to do with him. Since then, Lesnar has completely vanished from WWE's radar. No official statements have been made, but the company's actions speak louder than words. And when, a year later, Lesnar was officially named in updated court filings, any hope of a WWE return seemed permanently buried. From one of the most protected and promoted superstars in company history, Brock Lesnar fell from grace in an instant. And with a scandal of this magnitude, along with growing public backlash, WWE appears to have shut the door for good on the man once known as the Beast of the Ring. Enzo Amore, from breakout star to a permanent outcast. Among WWE's many controversial departures, Enzo Amore's downfall stands out as one of the fastest and most chaotic. Once seen as a rising star, Enzo became the classic example of how raw talent and a rebellious personality can be a double-edged sword, especially when left unchecked. Enzo first gained attention in NXT, teaming with Big Cass. The duo quickly won over fans with their high-energy performances and catchy, repeatable catchphrases like, "My name is Enzo Amore, and I'm a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that." They brought a unique charisma to the ring and injected new life into a tag team division that was starting to feel stale. After debuting on the main roster the night after WrestleMania 32, Enzo and Cass immediately became a sensation. Crowds erupted whenever they hit the stage. Despite never capturing tag team gold, they remained one of the most popular teams of their era. But success was short-lived. Backstage tensions and character mishandling led WWE to split them up, and that's when everything began to spiral. Enzo was moved to 205 Live, WWE's cruiserweight division. There, He quickly took the spotlight and eventually won the Cruiserweight Championship. But his difficult persona wasn't just an on-screen gimmick, it bled into real life. Reports emerged of Enzo being arrogant, disrespectful to colleagues, and a frequent source of trouble during live tours. At one point, Roman Reigns himself reportedly had Enzo kicked off the tour bus for inappropriate behavior. That reckless attitude didn't just alienate Enzo from his peers, it made WWE leadership wary of keeping him around. Then came the breaking point. In early 2018, Enzo was accused of sexually assaulting a woman at a hotel in Phoenix. Although authorities later closed the case due to insufficient evidence, the damage to his reputation was already done. What truly sealed Enzo's fate wasn't just the accusation itself, it was that he failed to inform WWE about the ongoing investigation. When the news broke through the media, WWE was blindsided, a situation the company does not tolerate, especially during a time of heightened social awareness and public scrutiny. Enzo was fired immediately, without a chance to explain or negotiate. From that moment, he was cut off entirely from all WWE-related content and activities. While he later made appearances at a few independent shows, and even tried to stir up attention by showing up as a fan at a WWE event, it was clear, the door to WWE had slammed shut for him, and it's unlikely to ever open again. Lars Sullivan, the monster that crumbled under scandal and broken trust. Lars Sullivan was once touted by WWE as the next-generation monster, a powerhouse with brute strength and an intimidating presence that made an instant impact. During his time in NXT, he was portrayed as a cold, emotionless machine, crushing every opponent in his path. Fans believed it was only a matter of time before he became a major player on the main roster. In 2019, Lars officially debuted on Raw and SmackDown, with WWE positioning him as a top-tier villain. The company put a lot of faith in him, giving him regular appearances and wins over major names. But just weeks into his push, everything began to unravel. Old online posts from Lars resurfaced, revealing a troubling history of offensive remarks, including racist, sexist, and anti-LGBTQ+ comments. Shockingly, some posts even included insults directed at Stephanie McMahon, one of WWE's top executives. WWE had no choice but to issue a $100,000 fine and demanded a public apology. While Lars did express regret, his image had already taken a serious hit. Before the backlash could die down, another controversy erupted. This time, fans discovered that Lars had appeared in adult films prior to his WWE career, something he had never disclosed to company management. Given WWE's PG-friendly branding, such a revelation was hard for the company to overlook. To make matters worse, Lars then suffered a serious knee injury that sidelined him for nearly a year. Though he returned in late 2020, his comeback felt forced, awkward, and lacked energy. Odd interview segments didn't help his case, and WWE quickly lost interest. In early 2021, Lars was quietly released. Since then, his name has not been mentioned in any official WWE materials or broadcasts. A once-hyped destruction machine fell apart under the weight of scandal, injury, and, above all, lost trust from the company. Teddy Hart, the tragedy of a talent who destroyed himself. If Brock Lesnar is the story of a megastar who fell from the top, Teddy Hart represents a different kind of tragedy, a gifted performer who wasted his chances through arrogance and self-sabotage. As the nephew of Bret and Owen Hart and a member of the legendary Hart wrestling family, Teddy was born into greatness. In fact, he signed with WWE in 1998 at just 18 years old, becoming one of the youngest talents ever brought into the company. But youth didn't come with maturity. Teddy quickly frustrated WWE management with his unprofessional attitude, inflated ego, and a reckless habit of going off script. He was seen as unpredictable and disruptive, constantly throwing off the company's structured operations. Despite his bloodline, WWE terminated his contract just a year later. Following his release, Teddy bounced around the independent scene, including a stint with Ring of Honor in 2003. However, instead of impressing with in-ring skill, he became known for backstage drama. He had heated run-ins with Kurt Angle, nearly fought Samoa Joe, and had physical altercations with CM Punk. His reputation became more about conflict than performance. Still, WWE gave him another shot in 2007. This time, Teddy was assigned to Florida Championship Wrestling, where he became part of a modern version of the Hart Foundation alongside Davey Boy Smith Jr., Tyson Kidd, and Natalya. It was a golden opportunity, but once again, he blew it. Repeating the same behavior, conflicts, lack of discipline, and poor decision-making led WWE to cut ties with him for good. After his final release, Teddy Hart essentially vanished from the wrestling scene and reappeared in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. In 2014, he was accused of assaulting 2 women he had dated. Throughout the 2010s, he faced a string of legal issues: drug possession, DUI, violating probation, and evading law enforcement. Despite his deep family roots in WWE, Teddy Hart has become a stain on the legacy of the Hart dynasty, a name WWE now actively avoids. He was handed multiple golden opportunities, but his arrogance and self-destructive choices shut every door for good. Velveteen Dream, from rising star to a forgotten shadow. Unlike Teddy Hart, whose career unraveled over years of repeated misconduct, Velveteen Dream's story is a heartbreaking one, where a promising superstar seemingly destined for greatness in WWE lost it all due to serious allegations. In 2017, Velveteen Dream made a powerful impression in NXT with his unique presentation, flamboyant looks, magnetic confidence, and a bold, theatrical performance style. His blend of charisma and in-ring storytelling quickly made him one of the brand's most popular figures. Dream didn't just stand out visually. He consistently delivered matches that were both technically sound and emotionally compelling. 2019 marked a major milestone when Dream captured the NXT North American Championship and held the title for over 200 days. With a strong character, growing fan support, and steady improvement in the ring, many believed a call-up to the main roster was only a matter of time. But everything took a sharp turn in 2020 during the height of the #SpeakingOut movement, which rocked the wrestling world with numerous allegations of misconduct. Velveteen Dream was accused of sending explicit messages to minors over social media. Although he denied all claims and no criminal charges were filed, the public skepticism remained. His vague responses and prolonged silence only deepened the unease, casting a shadow over his once bright image. As time went on, Dream gradually disappeared from WWE programming. From being one of NXT's most prominent stars, he became a controversial figure the company actively avoided mentioning. By May 2021, WWE officially released Velveteen Dream without offering a detailed explanation, though by then, the writing was on the wall. His troubles didn't end with his release. In August 2022, Dream was arrested twice within 1 week, once for battery and trespassing, and another for drug possession. Before those incidents could even settle, former WWE star EC3 publicly accused Dream of secretly placing a camera in a bathroom during a party, sparking further backlash. Despite everything, Velveteen Dream attempted to return to wrestling via independent shows. But with a reputation badly damaged by scandal and controversy, the chance of a WWE comeback appears slim to none. What was once a name full of promise has become a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of how quickly a rising star can vanish when lost in the shadows. Jon Moxley, when the lunatic took his own path, with no way back. Before becoming a cornerstone of AEW, Jon Moxley made his mark in WWE under the name Dean Ambrose, a standout member of the legendary faction The Shield. Alongside Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, Ambrose helped redefine an entire era of WWE in the early 2010s, injecting the company with fresh energy and attitude. But after The Shield disbanded, Ambrose's journey began to falter. While Rollins and Reigns quickly rose to main event status and were molded into modern icons, Ambrose was frequently stuck in shallow storylines. Even when he won the WWE Championship in 2016, his reign failed to leave a lasting impression, largely due to a lack of creative investment. To many fans, Ambrose was a major star being held back by the very system meant to elevate him. That frustration only deepened after a series of key moments. His WrestleMania 32 match with Brock Lesnar, once hyped as a brutal showdown, ended up flat, emotionless, and quickly forgotten. The breaking point came in 2018, when WWE turned Ambrose heel on Seth Rollins on the same night Roman Reigns announced his leukemia diagnosis. The heel turn was widely criticized as tone-deaf and tasteless, leaving Ambrose feeling completely disconnected from his character. Beyond the questionable creative direction, Ambrose also felt creatively suffocated by WWE's rigid, family-friendly PG structure. His signature style, hard-hitting, chaotic, and raw, just didn't fit WWE's sanitized environment. He knew that if he wanted to thrive as the wrestler he truly was, He needed to find a different stage. That opportunity came at the perfect time. In 2019, as All Elite Wrestling emerged with a more intense and unrestricted identity, Dean Ambrose took the leap. In April, he left WWE. Just 1 month later, at AEW's debut event Double or Nothing, he shocked the world by reappearing under his original name, Jon Moxley. In AEW, Moxley flourished. He wrestled with freedom, fire, and authenticity, unfiltered and unchained. Capturing the AEW World Championship multiple times, Moxley cemented himself as one of the fiercest forces in modern pro wrestling. Since his departure, there's been no sign of reconnection between Moxley and WWE. No appearances, no mentions, no hints of a return. With vastly different styles and philosophies, the two now exist in separate worlds. And for Jon Moxley, the door to WWE is closed, for good. Daniel Pewer, the man who almost broke Kurt Angle's arm, and paid the price. Daniel Pewer once had a golden opportunity to become a WWE star, but what people remember most about him is a shocking, unscripted moment with Kurt Angle that nearly changed everything. In 2004, Pewer joined the 4th season of Tough Enough, a reality competition where contestants battled for a WWE contract. But it wasn't the regular challenges that made Pewer famous. It was a controversial incident that unfolded live on television. During an episode of SmackDown, Kurt Angle challenged the Tough Enough contestants to step into the ring with him. It was supposed to be a scripted segment, an easy showcase where Angle would dominate each opponent. But when it was Daniel Pewer's turn, things didn't go according to plan. With an MMA background, Pewer countered Angle and locked in a Kimura, a submission hold so dangerous that, for a brief moment, it looked like Angle was genuinely in trouble. Had Pewer tightened the hold even slightly, he could have snapped Angle's arm live on air. The referee quickly improvised and ended the segment with a rushed pinfall to protect Angle, who walked away visibly shaken. While Pewer wasn't punished immediately, that moment branded him as someone who had overstepped, a rookie who had broken the unwritten rules and embarrassed a company legend. Although he went on to win Tough Enough and sign a lucrative WWE contract, the company no longer saw him as a rising star. Instead, it seemed like WWE slowly pushed him into obscurity. The clearest example came at the 2005 Royal Rumble, where Pewer was hit with brutal, unrelenting chops from Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, and Hardcore Holly. Many saw it as a public warning, a harsh reminder that in WWE, going off script has serious consequences. Less than a year later, in September 2005, WWE quietly released Daniel Pewer. There was no farewell, no tribute, no acknowledgement. And since then, WWE has never mentioned his name again. All because of a single moment of real, in a scripted world, Daniel Pewer paid for it with his entire career, a painful lesson in the fine line between performance and reality in professional wrestling. Sunny, from original diva to a dark fall behind bars. In WWE history, few names have soared as high and crashed as hard as Sunny. Once celebrated as the original diva, a symbol of beauty, charisma, and mainstream appeal, she is now remembered more for her scandals, criminal charges, and a downfall too severe to erase. In the mid-1990s, as WWE entered its new generation era, Sunny embodied the company's fresh direction. With her striking looks and bold personality, she had a magnetic presence, commanding the camera, energizing live crowds, and turning every segment she appeared in into must-see TV. By 1996, she was the most searched woman on the entire internet, a groundbreaking feat for any female performer in wrestling at the time. But that spotlight faded quickly. Sunny's career began to unravel due to her chaotic lifestyle behind the scenes. Substance abuse, unprofessional behavior, and repeated no-shows at events frustrated WWE management. The company even offered her a chance to enter rehab, but she flat-out refused. With no other choice, WWE terminated her contract in 1998. Despite that, Sunny was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2011, a gesture meant to honor her early impact on the company. But rather than marking a fresh start, it proved to be only a brief pause before things spiraled further. Over the following years, Sunny repeatedly ran afoul of the law, facing charges ranging from DUI and theft to restraining order violations and even threats categorized as terroristic. Then came the breaking point. In March 2022, while driving under the influence, Sunny caused a fatal crash that killed a 75-year-old man on the scene. This time, it wasn't just a personal misstep, It was a tragic, unforgivable crime. She was arrested and charged with DUI manslaughter. After investigation and trial, she was sentenced to 17 years in prison in 2023. This time, WWE didn't look the other way. After everything that had happened, the company permanently cut all ties with Sunny, placing her on a blacklist. A tragic end for someone once seen as the face of an entire generation. Alberto Del Rio, from WWE aristocrat to a fall from grace. When it comes to WWE stars who lost everything due to scandal, Alberto Del Rio stands as a prime example that talent and fame are no match for self-destruction. Debuting in 2010, Del Rio quickly rose to prominence with his proud Mexican aristocrat persona, arriving in luxury cars and introduced by his personal ring announcer, Ricardo Rodriguez. With a polished in-ring style, solid technical background, and unmatched confidence, he made an immediate impact. WWE saw him as a key figure in expanding into the massive Latin American market. Backed by major victories like the 2011 Royal Rumble, Money in the Bank, and 2 reigns as WWE and World Heavyweight Champion, Del Rio was fast-tracked into the main event scene. He engaged in high-profile rivalries with stars like John Cena, CM Punk, and Randy Orton, helping define WWE's turbulent early 2010s. But behind the suave image was someone difficult to manage. In 2014, Del Rio was suddenly fired after slapping a Backstage employee who allegedly made a racist comment. The incident sparked mixed reactions, but WWE maintained its firm disciplinary stance. Surprisingly, just a year later, Del Rio returned and made an immediate splash by defeating John Cena to win the United States Championship. However, his second run was short-lived. He was placed in the League of Nations, a poorly received faction that quickly faded from relevance. From a world champion with serious momentum, Del Rio became just another forgettable name in the background. Things only got worse when his volatile relationship with fellow wrestler Paige started making headlines. From public arguments to nasty social media feuds, their drama constantly attracted negative attention. Not only did it hurt both of their reputations, but it also put WWE in an awkward position as the scandal drew unwanted media scrutiny. By 2016, after violating WWE's wellness policy, reportedly due to banned substances, Del Rio parted ways with the company. This time, there were no dramatic exits or headlines. He simply walked away, a quiet end to what had once seemed like a bright future. But the real shock came in 2020, when Del Rio was arrested on charges of kidnapping and sexual assault involving his ex-girlfriend. Although the charges were later dropped, the damage to his image was irreversible. WWE never publicly commented, but their silence said it all. Del Rio was permanently erased from all plans, programming, and any possibility of return. From a celebrated aristocrat to a disgraced outcast, Alberto Del Rio is a cautionary tale, a reminder that no amount of success can withstand a string of reckless decisions. Ryback, slamming the WWE door shut on his own. In the early 2010s, Ryback was seen as one of WWE's most promising rising stars. With his massive physique and powerhouse style, he was portrayed as a human wrecking machine, ready to crush anyone in his path to the top. But instead of reaching the heights many expected, Ryback ended up shutting the WWE door on himself, permanently. Before he was Ryback, fans knew him as Skip Sheffield, a member of the Faction Nexus, which made a shocking debut in 2010. However, with standout names like Wade Barrett and Daniel Bryan leading the group, Skip quickly faded into the background. After suffering a serious injury, he disappeared from WWE programming for nearly 2 years. In 2012, he returned with a completely revamped persona. Bigger, meaner, and undefeated, Ryback made an immediate impact. His dominant run drew comparisons to WCW-era Goldberg, and WWE leaned into that hype. He was pushed into a WWE Championship match against CM Punk at Hell in a Cell, and many believed he was destined for a long-term spot in the main event scene. But after a series of failed title shots and underdeveloped storylines, Ryback's momentum stalled. By 2016, with creative no longer behind him, he officially parted ways with WWE. Unlike others who exit quietly, Ryback took a combative route. On social media, he openly criticized WWE and several top names. He infamously called John Cena the cancer of the industry, branded Triple H as the biggest disappointment, and sparked outrage by attacking Vince McMahon shortly after the passing of Vince's mother. Ryback repeatedly claimed that WWE had held him back, and insisted that, if given the right opportunity, he could have surpassed Brock Lesnar. But as his statements grew more bitter and extreme, and his relevance in the media declined, any hope of a WWE return faded into oblivion. Ryback once stood at the edge of greatness, but in the end, it was his bitterness and oversized ego that permanently erased him from WWE's future. Gail Kim, wasted talent and a self-written ending. Gail Kim is one of the few who boldly chose to walk away from WWE, right in the middle of a live televised match. It was a daring yet decisive move, made the moment she realized WWE would never give her the opportunity she truly deserved. From the very beginning, Gail made an impact. In her WWE debut in 2003, she shocked everyone by winning her first match and becoming the women's champion that same night. It was a rare feat, and it should have launched her into stardom. But instead of building on that momentum, WWE had no long-term plans for her. Just over a year later, after a lackluster run, she was released in 2004. Ironically, that release became a turning point in her career. Once she joined TNA, Gail completely reinvented herself. Free from shallow storylines and background roles, she flourished, and gradually earned a reputation as one of the most respected female wrestlers of her generation. Her outstanding performances in TNA eventually caught WWE's attention again, and they brought her back in 2008. But her return was even more disappointing than her first run. Gail was thrown into forgettable storylines, and the one thing fans remember most is when she was suddenly revealed to be Daniel Bryan's girlfriend, a random plot twist during his feud with the Bella twins that added nothing to her character and left fans scratching their heads. Her breaking point came in 2011. During a live battle royal, Gail Kim eliminated herself just seconds after the bell rang. It wasn't scripted. No one told her to do it. She simply didn't want to be part of it anymore. Shortly after, she handed in her resignation and walked away from WWE for good, without ever looking back. In later interviews, Gail openly criticized Vince McMahon, stating that he never truly believed in her. "I've been here twice, for a total of 5 years. If he still doesn't like me by now, that's it. I'm over 30. I need to leave." After that, Gail continued to shine in TNA, eventually becoming a cornerstone of the Knockouts division. Though she left WWE on her own terms, her outspoken comments afterward placed her on the company's unofficial blacklist. And with that, any chance of WWE ever reopening its doors to Gail Kim virtually disappeared. Ronda Rousey, a bright star that burned out fast. Among the many names that once shook up WWE, Ronda Rousey stands out as both one of its brightest stars and one of its biggest disappointments. When she made her surprise debut at the 2018 Royal Rumble, fans around the world were stunned. WWE hadn't just signed a former UFC champion, they had landed a global icon. And Ronda delivered in her first match at WrestleMania 34, teaming up with Kurt Angle to defeat Triple H and Stephanie McMahon in a bout praised for both storytelling and in-ring quality. WWE wasted no time pushing her to the top. Backed heavily by the company, Ronda seemed unstoppable. She captured the Raw Women's Championship and headlined WrestleMania 35 alongside Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, a historic moment for women's wrestling. But beneath the spotlight, problems were already brewing. Ronda proved sensitive to crowd reactions, especially the boos. She openly criticized WWE as fake and dismissed the matches as mere entertainment. That single comment severely damaged her standing with fans. After losing her title at WrestleMania 35, she quietly stepped away from WWE, without a proper farewell. Though she returned in 2022 and won the Women's Royal Rumble, her comeback lacked the spark of her earlier run. Bland promos and a half-hearted performance left her feeling like an afterthought. When her contract expired in 2023, both sides seemed ready to part ways. Ronda began publicly criticizing WWE management and even turned on the fans who once supported her. From a globally sought-after superstar, she became a name WWE had no interest in keeping. At this point, a Ronda Rousey return seems nearly impossible. Vince McMahon, from wrestling kingpin to outcast. No one can deny Vince McMahon's monumental role in transforming WWE from a small regional promotion into a global billion-dollar empire. Under his leadership, WWE produced living legends, Hulk Hogan, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, John Cena, and Roman Reigns. Vince wasn't just the boss. He rewrote the rules of sports entertainment. But that legacy ended in a whirlwind of scandal. For all the glitz and glory he helped create, Vince's career was shadowed by controversy. His authoritarian leadership, toxic backstage culture, and rumors of murky personal conduct had circulated for years. Things finally collapsed in 2022, when it was revealed that Vince had spent millions in hush money to cover up sexual misconduct allegations involving former female employees. Rather than face the fallout, he quietly announced a temporary retirement, though few believed it would last. And they were right. In early 2023, Vince silently returned to power through stock maneuvering and vote manipulation, causing internal backlash. But his grip on the throne didn't hold for long. In 2024, he was named in a bombshell lawsuit filed by former assistant Janelle Grant. Cornered, Vince was forced to resign from all WWE positions, marking a bitter end for the man who once embodied the company's power. WWE swiftly erased all traces of him, from videos and photos to marketing materials. The name Vince McMahon practically vanished from all official platforms. Once the most powerful figure in wrestling, Vince is now just a shadow of his former self. He no longer appears in public, and WWE shows no sign of ever welcoming him back. From the height of dominance, Vince McMahon has become a cautionary tale of a fall from grace, when a dark past finally comes collecting its due. Chyna, the living legend erased while still breathing. In WWE history, few figures are as simultaneously iconic and tragic as Chyna, a woman who redefined the role of females in professional wrestling, only to be coldly discarded by the very company that once celebrated her. Chyna, born Joanie Laurer, wasn't just a founding member of the legendary D-Generation X. She was also the first woman to win the Intercontinental Championship, an unprecedented feat in WWE. With her muscular physique, powerful presence, and exceptional in-ring skills, she wasn't just the original diva, she was a feminist symbol in a male-dominated industry. But that spotlight didn't last forever. After leaving WWE in 2001 under tense circumstances, largely due to a broken relationship with Triple H and frustrations over her creative direction, Chyna entered the adult film industry. That decision infuriated Vince McMahon and WWE leadership to the point where her name was completely banned from WWE TV, websites, and all official records. For over a decade, it was as if Chyna had never existed, despite her undeniable impact. What made it worse was WWE's continued refusal to induct her into the Hall of Fame, despite constant fan outcry. Triple H once said, "We don't want kids Googling her name and finding inappropriate content." The comment sparked outrage among fans, especially since WWE had previously honored numerous figures with controversial pasts, yet deliberately erased a woman who had changed the company's very history. In 2016, Chyna passed away from an overdose at age 46, lonely, depressed, and forgotten. It wasn't until 2019 that WWE finally inducted her into the Hall of Fame, but not individually. She was included only as part of DX. A late, reluctant gesture, perhaps a quiet attempt at redemption, for a legend the company had turned its back on while she was still alive. Marty Jandy, from rising star to forgotten shadow. If Shawn Michaels is remembered as one of WWE's greatest legends, then Marty Jandy, his former tag team partner in the Rockers, serves as a heartbreaking reminder of how talent can be destroyed by self-destruction. In the late 80s, the Rockers were among WWE's most beloved tag teams. Both Shawn and Marty had excellent in-ring skills, electrifying charisma, and were poised for solo stardom. But when the team split in 1992, infamously during the barbershop betrayal, their paths couldn't have been more different. Michaels soared to superstardom. Jandy spiraled into chaos. WWE gave Marty multiple second chances. He even won the Intercontinental Championship and made a few brief returns, but he never managed to regain momentum. The reason was clear: Marty couldn't stay in control. A life of partying, substance abuse, and increasingly erratic behavior made him a liability in the company's eyes. In recent years, things got even darker. On social media, Marty began posting disturbing content, from vulgar rants and violent threats to a bizarre confession about killing someone and dumping the body. He later claimed it was a joke, but the damage was done. He also stirred controversy with comments suggesting an inappropriate relationship with someone believed to be his biological daughter. WWE, striving to maintain a PG, family-friendly image, had no choice but to sever all ties. Marty was quietly removed from commemorative events, excluded from video games, and has never been considered for the Hall of Fame, despite his historical role in the Rockers. Today, the name Marty Jandy stands as a cautionary tale, a dark stain on WWE's legacy. He could have been a star. But in the end, he became his own downfall. Though they were once icons in the ring, they've now faded into forgotten history. Follow Wrestling Sphere so you don't miss the most shocking behind-the-scenes stories in WWE.